The dingo. A descendant of wolves that have experienced a fate similar to many. A top predator confined by a barrier, except this one is the longest of them all.
I do miss living out here. There's just something surreal about it. I am a previous employee with the Border Fence Maintenance Board who maintain the Dingo Fence in Australia. The main role of the fence is to keep dingoes out of sheep breeding areas in New South Wales and South Australia. Maintenance costs about $10 million a year, easily. I repaired, replaced, maintained, checking the fence for any damage. Any small damage I would fix there and then. Any bigger damage I would make sure that the fence was dog-proof. Then I would come back with whatever else I needed to repair it. Twice a week I would run the full length of my section of fence, 200 kilometres. And it's still the longest man-made structure in the world. It still beats the Great Wall of China. (5,600 kilometres long. It was originally built in the late 1800s as a rabbit fence to keep the rabbits out of New South Wales. But they worked out that the rabbit fence wasn't doing its job and dingoes were starting to become really prevalent through sheep grazing areas. So they extended the fence up to 6 foot tall.
The logic was to divide Australia into two sections. On the outside of the fence, dingoes were allowed to roam free. But on the inside of the fence, where sheep production takes place, the idea was to get rid of the dingoes, ideally to exterminate them. Their reputation took a big downfall in the 1980s, following the disappearance of a baby girl. Her parents were convicted of a murder despite claiming a dingo had taken their daughter. 3 years later, the parents were released after the baby's jacket was found near a dingo lair. The reason why dingoes are still villainised today.
There is no question that they were brought to Australia by human beings. We see them turn up in the fossil record of Australia about 4,000 years ago. They were brought to Australia by Southeast Asian seafarers. It didn't evolve here. A lot of ecologists like myself would argue that having been here for thousands of years, it's now in equilibrium with its environment. It's in balance with the natural world. It has a job to do. Dingoes will go after bigger prey, but they'll leave the smaller little mammals alone. Kangaroo, of course, is a native Australian animal. Everybody loves them. They're an icon of Australia. But without the dingoes to control their numbers, they're going to have a much higher population, and that can potentially lead to problems of overgrazing. The dingo is actually important in maintaining stability in the ecosystem. Under the Nature Conservation Act, dingoes in a national park are a protected species, a native animal. Under the Biosecurity Act, landholders are obliged to control wild dogs, including dingoes, on their land.
You put me in the right area, I'll catch your dogs. I'm a professional dogger, trap dingoes for a living, and I work the inside of the barrier fence. I started 32 years ago and I've been doing it 7 days a week ever since. I kill 600 every year. I treat every dog like a smart dog. You treat him like a fool and he'll show you how big a fool you are. When I'm on a big job, I could have 200 traps out at any one time, and I don't mark them, I don't write down where they are. It's all in a little GPS up here. And I'll set a trap, scent free. I don't touch the ground, I don't stand on the ground, I don't do anything like that. They're a very intelligent animal. Sheep is totally defenceless against dogs, and they're used to domestic dog and they've got no fear of dingoes, and dingoes just maul them. You know, like they'll come back till they kill every last one. You will not have a sheep industry without the barrier fence and without dog control.
Dingoes aren't well-liked animals by graziers. But on the outside of the fence, things are a little different.
So we'll get you to sit. I want you to sit. No, hang on. You shake hands. Shake hands. All right, there we go. And take one out of the mouth. How fit. All right, up. Good boy. I live in southeast Queensland at a place called Jurong Dingo Sanctuary. It is the only dingo sanctuary of its type in Queensland where wild dingoes reside here, conservation purposes. It also is an educational facility where we have students, volunteers that come here to learn and work amongst the dingoes, and also just to inform the public of the role that the dingo has in Australian ecology. It can survive in the most driest, hardest places of Australia where no other animal can, because they have just learned to adapt to live to this climate. The dingoes are reducing the number of your macropods, your kangaroos and wallabies. They're suppressing the number of pigs, foxes, goats, which is then allowing more pasture to grow, which is food for their livestock. So by leaving the dingo there, they don't need to bait, they don't need trappers to shoot the dingoes. They can let the dingoes manage the landscape like they've done for thousands of years. Originally, when English people invaded Australia with Captain Cook, they brought all these feral pests, which were like sheep, foxes, goats, and then realised that there were these dogs coming out of nowhere killing their sheep. But over all those years of using these poisons to kill the dingoes, we still have a lot of dingoes here. They're still winning in a certain way because the dingoes are teaching their pups to keep away from the baits.
The narrative on dingoes is slowly beginning to change, and in some places, the benefits of dingoes are being embraced.
I have lived here all my life on Clarivale. My family's been here since 1890. I'm the fourth generation. We run a self-replacing breeder herd of about 800 cows. I stopped killing dingoes 28 years ago. Regularly killed 15 to 20 dingoes a year, every year. Made no difference. There were still just as many dingoes there, but just as many cars. Because the dingo gets rid of the foxes and halves the number of cats, those medium, small-sized predators lived on now don't have a predator. So there are animals and large skinks and birds here that I almost didn't know existed beforehand. Now they're here in hundreds, if not thousands. It's all happened in 20 years. The old style thinking is still out there in most people's heads, which is the only good dingo is a dead one. Maybe it's about time we tried something else, as in stop killing them. I would suggest the dingo fence will never be dismantled, not in the next 50 years anyway. There are too many people that want it up. They are scared to do the changeover. So until that changes, as in the people lifestyles and their way they make their living, and we think if we find other ways or find a way to actually literally eventually do wipe them all out, which I hope never happens.
Humans are the most destructive species in the world.
The Australian landscape has just been overgrazed and flogged by farmers who are more interested in the dollar than they are with the ground.
With tensions between graziers and dingoes ever present, both human and animal are in desperate need of a solution. The fence will continue to stand, and so too will the war on dingoes, unless graziers find another way to manage their land. One idea, however, has come in the form of guardian animals.
Farmers are now putting them in with their flocks. Donkeys hate dingoes with a vengeance, and they will hunt them down, kill them, trample them, and all the rest. Now, dingoes are smart enough not to get too close to a donkey, but the presence of a donkey there, he will run at the predator and drive them away. So if you've got enough donkeys living with sheep, they end up protecting the sheep.
There has been some exciting trials being done with certain breeds of dog, which have been bred not to live with their human owners, but to live with the sheep. And the smell of them, the sound of them barking at night is shown to be pretty highly effective at keeping animals like dingoes away.
Despite the introduction of guardian animals in farms across Australia, progress is slow. The fence has been around for 150 years, the dingo for 4,000. The future of both remains to be seen. But for now, the dingo fence will continue to divide Australia for the years to come.